What's up, Roamies? We're coming to you from Fredericksburg, Texas. As you remember from the last video, we arrived here at Jellystone's Texas Wine Country Campground for Heath and Alyssa's RV Entrepreneur Summit. Since I can't talk, we'll let John tell you about more of it.
Yeah, so the RV Entrepreneur Summit is hosted, as Nadia said, by Heath and Alyssa Paget. And basically what it is a conference for nomads who are trying to be entrepreneurs or who are already entrepreneurs. They're building their businesses, they're on the road, they're traveling full-time, and it's really a community that's been built to provide value, to provide that sense of belonging, and to really be able to build one another up. And really it was a week spent with old friends, it was a week spent making new friends, meeting like-minded individuals who we know we'll see them again further on down the road. You know, last year we made some connections with people that we then followed up and hung out with these people 2, 3, 4 times down the road. And in times where you maybe are a little lonely, maybe you break down, maybe you are just looking for a good spot to eat, the community always provides that sense of belonging that we talked about earlier. So in case you're wondering why Nadia sounds like this, we did have fun, we did meet tons of new friends, we probably stayed up too late. Every single night. And then this happened. Now, before the germs got us, our good buddy Eric Highland invited us out to have some fun on the trails with his Jeep and a bunch of other friends out here that have Jeeps. And I got to go along for the ride. And this is what that looked like. Say hi! Hey! So as you can see, we had a ton of fun, and after everything was all said and done, we sat down, we started really thinking about it, and we were like, well, let's get a couple of our friends together and just ask them kind of how they decompress after this whole thing. How do they keep their momentum going after these conferences? So here are a couple friends that we met last year at the same conference, and we'll just dive into it real quick. Check it out. All right, guys, so we caught up with our friend Drew Bensen over here. He's the co-author of Positive Minded People. If you haven't heard of Drew's work, we'll definitely link that down below so that you can get caught up and follow Drew. We were talking about the RV Entrepreneur Summit and just this high that we're all riding. Where do we go from here? What do we do? And really just kind of what is your takeaway?
So the RV Entrepreneur Summit, it's the second year, and we were there last year. Now that we came back, we were talking about getting something totally different out of it. When you are at an event like this, and it is the most inspiring and most driven people that I've met all in one place, like so many of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the energy is just vibing high. And what we were talking about was, you know, when you leave something like this, how do you navigate that? If you're vibing so high, it's not that you have to come down, but you can't just keep vibing real high. I mean, there's an ebb and flow to everything, right?
Yeah. It's almost inevitable. You know, you're feeling so good, you're so inspired, you're so motivated, and then the question comes up, well, what action steps do I take? What do I do to make this real? What do I do? Because when you go back home or you go back to your next destination, you kind of look in the mirror and you're just thinking to yourself, but I'm still the same person, and I maybe don't know what to do. What do you do coming off of something so awesome?
Well, I call some of that the monkey mind voice in your head that's saying, well, they may say something like, well, I still don't have all that money in my bank account, or I'm not like those folks who are doing all those really cool things, or whatever it is, you know, that voice that's kind of trying to pull you back down. There's tons of different things. I mean, for me, you know, I've been training myself on this way of thinking where, you know, I catch those moments. I'm aware of those moments, when they're happening.
Gotcha.
And then to be able to like redirect. So not like the way I think of it is like when you're on a boat, you don't turn the wheel really hard, right? Because you're gonna, you know, you do little corrections.
Right.
You know, little corrections. So for me, you know, it seems like maybe I'm positive all the time and everything's just dandy, everything's wonderful, and it's unicorns and everything's just right. But I work at this, and I've been working at it solidly for 10 years, and I work at it every day, and it's easier as the days go by. But basically, I catch myself and say, you know, babe, I talk really sweet to myself.
Yeah.
You know, babe, it's gonna be okay. You got this. Train your brain to stay in the good, to stay in the positive.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think something that we were thinking of recently is we were kind of reflecting on this year's summit versus last year's summit, and then reflecting on where we were individually last year at this time. So, care to share anything about that and kind of what your journey's been in maybe the last year?
Oh man, it's been night and day, incredible experience. I'm a really open person. I kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
But on my terms. Okay. So last year when I came here, I came by myself to Texas from California and was like, well, let's go see what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know,
let's go meet new people and see who's here, right?
And I was a little bit more reserved and kind of nervous to, you know, how was I gonna be judged? And it's funny is that the folks I talked to this year, a lot of them felt the same way. Well, I'm shy, or I'm not, and you seem like an extrovert, and I'm not, and I don't know if people like me. And it was just really interesting that we all kind of have the same feelings, but about different things, right?
Yeah.
So the difference I would say from last year, this year, and what has happened in the last year is I left here after getting to know some of the folks like you two, and feeling the love and feeling the support and connection from like-minded folks, but we all have different views and beliefs, and you know, right?
It's awesome.
And I went off and I did some soul searching, right? I mean, that's what part of this is for me, is like going off and like, you know, I travel alone and just try and do better every day, you know? Is I went to a conference, and I decided at that conference in Santa Fe's amazing, that I was gonna make a contract with the universe to step into my bigger life.
Wow, okay.
So it was like, what is that?
Yeah, that's big.
But it just kept saying, you know, step into your bigger life. You have a bigger life to live, and step into it and be brave. And I was scared. And I'm not really scared of a whole lot of things, but I was terrified because I knew that meant step into my bigger life in the world, to strangers, you know, online, to people that could be mean to me or hurt me, who don't know me and love me. You know, it's one thing if you meet someone, but to strangers or the internet. And so I knew what I was intentionally making that decision. And that's what a lot of us do in this. You know, we're coming out online, we're showing our everything about ourselves online like to strangers.
Huge vulnerability in these moments,
and
right?
Risk. I mean, it's like, I mean, no matter how tough you are or how strong you are, all that, I mean, it still hurts when people aren't nice. That's what I think we're missing, that connection maybe, where we get online and people make comments, but that hurts. You know. So anyway, in the last year, I made that, and then I started coming out and talking about who I am and my story to publicly to more folks. And when I came back this year, people were like, "Hey, I saw you last year, but I never talked to you," or "Hey, I didn't have any idea what your story is. I want to talk to you." And it became this. I had the most epically fantastic, deep time here. It was remarkable. And then, you know, I'm leaving tomorrow, and to kind of cap it off with you guys, you know, spend the day with you, the last day, and then to have that conversation that we had at breakfast, that I would love for you to share more of your thoughts on that, because it was just like, hey, that's what I was saying, but you're saying it in a different way, but we're kind of saying the same stuff. And you know, how do we navigate our thoughts and our emotions to stay in this, in our dream? You know, how do we not dip with the low and go, you know, fly away with the highs? How do we do this?
Well, I think one thing that helped us navigate this whole thing last year when we left here, we tried our hardest to seek out some of the folks that we met here, and Drew was one of them, right? Like, we met on the road, what, 2 or 3 times?
2 or 3 times.
And so I remember that, because that encouragement is what feeds you. That's what keeps you going, you know? You come out of here and you realize it's about the people. It wasn't so much about just 2 or 3 people on the main stage. It's actually all, in this case, roughly 250 people. And so I think something we talked about this morning was the ability or the conscious decision to try to engage with as many of these beautiful souls as possible this weekend is what we tried to do, you know? And I remember thinking to myself, I'm gonna pick up that camera right there, and I'm gonna like do some awesome video about this entire event. And then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because I want to sit down with people and share with them and get into their heart and their mind and try to figure out where we can build each other up and how we can kind of be that healing force for one another. So I think it's so valuable when you can make those connections and you keep them going on throughout the year.
I definitely thought meeting up along the road was something that helped a lot. And I think even like reaching out to one another, even on social media, through the Facebook group, I think people encourage everyone. I think somebody can pose a question that they have, or a doubt, or something they might view as a failure, and the community's there to support them, to lift them back up. And we've seen that a couple times this year with different people. So even at a distance, you can still do that, and I think that's what was so important.
Yeah, and I think it's almost one of those deals too, where like, if you, let's say maybe you aren't comfortable even meeting up with people, right? Like, you're really quiet, you maybe are shy. Even if you take all of the high and just all of the good stuff from here, and all you do is just every single day just chip away at whatever goal you have, right? And the goal might be as simple as like, I just want to figure out what I want to be good at. If you just chip away at that every day instead of letting those voices take over, isn't that kind of what we, I think, did last year? You know, I mean, you arrived here this year in a different space, in a different spot than you did the first year, you know, and I think we did as well. So I think that's hugely valuable, and I would just encourage everybody, as you leave here, or as you maybe saw the Facebook live stream, take some of those tidbits of wisdom and those nuggets of gold and just apply it every single day and make it something that's actionable for you, so that you can combat those voices, so that you can get away from telling yourself that you're not good enough.
And I think that's something that both of you guys did a great job of last year. They chipped away at it little by little, day by day. They did something every day to just get them closer to their goal. Could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but just something every day and you'll get there. You guys are proof.
For me, sometimes those little things towards my goal were taking care of myself. You do the best that you can today, right? You just do the best that you can. And the more you get down on yourself, that's not helping anything, really. And to be honest with you, you're gonna do things on your timeline. If we really gauged ourselves on the people that were at this event, on their timeline, I don't know if I would feel like I was a success. Because some of these folks are like, ow, right? So the other thing was like on our own timeline, right? So like on your timeline, and you're doing excellent too.
Yeah, that's huge.
On your timeline and on your timeline and mine. And we're not, that's the other thing, is we're not comparing your timeline to mine, right?
Yeah.
We're like, you're doing awesome, like, because it's your story and it's your journey. The really unique thing about this group is that it's not like we're all learning one thing or we're all trying to achieve one goal. You know what we're really doing, in my opinion, is we're all trying to do our most authentic thing, live our most authentic life. Most of the folks here have switched and changed their life around to live in this totally unique way, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? I can tell you, for me, it was because something was telling me, what do you want? Go out and do this thing, and I started doing the next, like you said, the next thing that was right, and the next thing that was right, and the next thing that was right. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's all me and my most authentic life, what's right for me. And sometimes I don't know what that next turn is. And that's the other thing we were talking about. It's like, hey, so what's going on? I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to be in April or May, because I'm open to that next thing that's right for me.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Like, you don't necessarily know what your next destination is, and maybe professionally you don't know what your next gig is. You don't know where your next paycheck's coming from, right? Because at the end of the day, you're a full-time traveler, or you're trying and aspiring to be, but you're also aspiring to be an entrepreneur. You're trying to kind of reach out of the molds that kind of society gives you, right? And so that's huge. Being okay with not knowing what the answers are, not knowing where you're going, not knowing how to solve today's problem, let alone tomorrow's. Giving yourself that space to operate and seek and find. It's one of the core teachings that comes from what we all just experienced. It's 2 years running, and both years I've felt that. It's this awareness of like, you have to be okay with giving yourself room for error, right? Like, sometimes you can suck at something, and that's okay.
I failed at a lot of things this last year.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I started things and was like, oh, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. Like, that's not the answer.
I couldn't even tell you how many, but there have been some that have worked.
That's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And really, it's the things, what I find is I've listened to my instinct, my intuition, and try really hard to follow that.
Got it.
And it's been working.
Nice. Nice. Good stuff.
So,
I love it. So, yeah, that's a wrap, I think, for us. I know we'll be seeing you soon. We love you. So,
oh, man.
Huge.
I love you both so much.
Yeah, big love for you. We're gonna meet up soon, and so check out the link below. We'll link up to the book. We'll link up to some of Drew's work, and catch up with him. Catch up with what he's doing, what he's working on, and where he's at. And we'll sign off from here.
Watch out for these two. It's only up from here.
Yeah. See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye. What's up, Roamies? We are here
Roamies!
with some friends.
It's an intense sunset.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is spectacular.
Awesome. Orange to pink.
So the summit is over. We are gonna have some barbecue, wine, beer, and everything else that's good in life. We'll see you soon.